Hello, I'm Rebecca Pigram, Public Information Officer for Rockingham County. Today I'm joined with Rodney Cates, Emergency Services Director for Rockingham County. We are outside the 911 call center and in front of a Rockingham County emergency medical truck. Cates, thank you so much for joining us today. We've kind of discussed in other videos what goes on in the 911 center. Let's talk a little bit about what goes on in between when a resident of Rockingham County calls 911 to our first responders getting on scene, and what is involved in getting ready for our first responders responding to that scene.
So they see their call on their mobile computer terminal, and we had talked about that when we talked about the 911 center. The actual information that the telecommunicators are taking from the caller, the EMS crews can actually see that information populate on their computer terminal. So again, the mental picture, we've talked about the mental picture, it continues to paint that mental picture of exactly what they're going to. And as they began their shift that day, they did a truck check to make sure that everything on the truck was working properly and was well stocked and they had everything they need. So while they're reading this information, there's a mapping feature that tells them where they're going, and the computer in the truck is showing them the notes and the nature of the call. So they're in their minds thinking, what am I going to need when I get on this call, whatever the nature code is, a cardiac arrest, a broken leg, a cut finger, or a sick person that's just nauseated. What am I going to need when I get there? When I come out of this truck, what tools do I need to mitigate this situation as quickly and as effectively as I can?
So now that we've got kind of an idea of what goes on in that middle ground, if you don't mind, I'd love to check out the inside of this truck to see kind of what goes on inside and what our emergency medical staff does in their operations. I mean, we always see the outside of the truck when it's flying down the road to go save a life, but we never get to see what's inside it unless it's a very unfortunate situation.
Well,
so if you don't
take a look at the inside.
Awesome.
So one cool feature we have this technology, again, we've talked about technology. As you can see, these trucks are very high. So if you had to lift a patient up or lift a stretcher up to go in this truck, it's going to be a very high lift. These trucks will have what's called an automatic dump. The airbags let the air out when you open the doors. So when we open the door before we ever get in the truck, we're thinking this is a high step. Let's see how far it goes down.
Just for reference at home, this is hitting about at my kneecap. So
you can see now the truck going down. Makes it a lot easier, and that's not a huge amount, but still a big amount when you're picking up a patient to go in the back of a truck.
Absolutely. So before we even step inside this truck, literally, technology is already helping our paramedics, our first responders, our EMTs to save that patient's life. Whatever we can do to make sure that they are safe, to make sure our emergency medical staff is safe as well.
That's correct.
That's awesome.
All right.
Cool. Let's climb inside. Okay, so now that we're inside the truck, let's talk a little bit about, I know that we've got some equipment already on a stretcher. Can you kind of explain what's going on here?
So this red bag, all of our trucks have every bit of this equipment, but this red bag right here is called a primary bag. This bag goes in the house every time, no matter what the call is. Inside this bag, there are different compartments, and each compartment, again, all of them are exactly alike. In the top, we have some general supplies that we need, and it has inside of it what's called cells, and within these cells are different things. This is a medical cell, and it tells us right off the bat because it's listed medical on the top. Further inside, we have an IV bag, and all the way in the bottom, we have a med bag, which has different medicines in it that we could use if we needed. So we can use these for various different patients, and this has so much information and so much supplies in it that we can take care of a patient at any point. Within this truck, from what goes in this bag, and we'll put our bag back together, and it all fits nicely right back together. The side compartments have trauma dressings and different airway things.
There we go.
That go inside that we can use for a patient. Everything that's in this bag or in these compartments in these trucks. Each one of these compartments has what's called bins. So inside of these compartments are different bins. Every bin can resupply this bag, or if we were on a call where we had multiple patients and we exhausted all the tools and supplies we had in the bag, we simply go to the bin, we pull the bin out, and we got the exact same. Again, it's redundancy. It's how much extra stuff that we have and that we need. So we have tons of extra supplies. In the 911 center, we talked about our radio. All of these trucks have a dual head radio. The person driving the truck has a radio up there that they can communicate. The person in the back has a radio that they can talk to the hospital or whomever else they may need to communicate with. These trucks have cameras in the back of them. There's a camera back here that allows the person up front to see what's going on. So if the patient were to get worse and they have to stop and begin CPR or something that took the assistance of the person driving, then that person can certainly jump right back here and help as well. We have heart monitors on every one of our trucks. Within this heart monitor can do several different things. It's a defibrillator. So if a person was in cardiac arrest and they needed defibrillation, this monitor can do that. This monitor can check blood pressures. This monitor can check your pulse ox. All of these things are located within it and they're attached to the monitor. So when you get on scene, you just pull this stuff right out, undo the cuff, stretch it right out to the patient, and you can start taking the vital signs of the patient. If you want to see what the patient's heart's doing, we have the 12 lead that we can put on the patient's heart and immediately put a display on here, and you can see exactly what's going on with the person's heart. If they are in AFib or if they're having a STEMI, you can pick up every bit of that right off the bat. The electrodes, we keep the electrodes right here with it again so that you can just put everything together, put it on the patient, and you can go to work with that. If a person were to go into cardiac arrest, we carry what are called Lucas devices. A Lucas device is a mechanical chest compression device. It goes on a person's chest. We hope we never have to use them, but the beauty of this, the Lucas doesn't get tired. If you have to do physical CPR, you have to switch out because it's a very tiring process. The Lucas device is battery operated and it doesn't get tired. It goes on the chest, it has a suction cup, and it continuously does those compressions the entire time. The other benefit of that, it frees personnel up so they can then be pushing narcotics that the person may need to help bring them back. Somebody can be assigned to airway. Somebody can be the scribe and be taking notes of exactly what's going on and what medications are being pushed at what time, because all of that needs to be transferred with the patient care information. When you get the patient to the hospital, they're going to know what time did you push epi, what time did this happen, what time did that happen. So a scribe on scene, just a person to take detailed notes of what you're doing, is huge. So when you're utilizing a Lucas device and you don't have to switch people out doing the hands-on compression, certainly a benefit, and it's a benefit to the patient because you're getting the same and equal compressions each time. Another thing that we have here is it's called a pediatric bag, and again, all of our trucks have this. This bag is obviously specific for pediatrics. The tools in it, the medications that are in it are all designated for a pediatric patient. So if we get on scene and we had a pediatric patient, we don't have to think, this splint doesn't work for the patient, or this medication would be too strong for the patient because of their age. The pediatric bag has all of that, and we can utilize it just straight from the pediatric bag. And of course the stretcher, these are power load stretchers. You don't have to lift it, but so much. It has hydraulics under it that lifts it up, so certainly a benefit. I mean, these trucks are like a little rolling emergency room, and that's exactly what they are a lot of times until we get a patient on, because EMS is all about pre-hospital care. So what can we do? How can we treat this patient in the pre-hospital environment to stabilize them until we get them to a higher level of care?
So I have a couple of thoughts while you were explaining all of this. You said the word redundancy. I would almost go as far as say these EMS trucks are all about efficiency, not so much redundancy, but efficiency. Because, I mean, like you said, our emergency medical staff is prepared, and it's just one of those things that they don't have to think about. They can come in, they can grab, they know what they need when that service call is made, when they're dispatched. And all of that comes in that pre-shift check, I believe we called it.
Correct.
So efficiency, I mean, that is the key word. If you take away anything from today, please know that our emergency services staff are efficiency. They are so efficient because of the technology that is available to them today, between the Lucas machine, the pediatric bag, what is this bag called?
Primary bag.
The primary bag. See, I mean, it's just like they go in, they know what they have, all they have to do is reach in a bag. And that's incredible, because it limits that time of them searching for, an IV that's big enough for an infant, or, some trauma gauze, if something horrible is going on with an adult. They know what they're getting. They know where it is, and it's just all of a matter of like pulling it out of a bag, quite literally. So yeah, the efficiency that are in these trucks is phenomenal.
And every truck is set up exactly alike. So if we get on scene and we need 3 trucks there and we have to pull equipment from a different truck that we're not actually occupying that day, we know where to go to that truck and pull that same equipment off, because all the bins are the same, the equipment's the same, every one of them are set up the same way.
Efficiency. I mean, I can't think of another word to say. It's just how efficient these trucks operate, all to save you guys at home. So thank you so much for giving us this tour. Is there anything you'd like to mention while we're in here that you think we might have skipped?
No, you can see it's close quarters. So and keep in mind, we're sitting still now. Going down the road puts a whole nother dynamic in what the paramedics and EMTs have to do in the back of these trucks. You're going around curves. They have this rail right here that you can hang on to. That's a lifeline sometimes, because that's all you have to hang on to. They're not seat belted in because they're doing patient care. They may be starting an IV. They may be establishing an airway. So it is actually, from a transport situation, this stretcher locks in. There's a tray up under that stretcher that locks the stretcher in. You can turn this truck upside down and the stretcher's not going to move. But for the paramedic or the EMT that's back here providing patient care, if you wreck this truck, they're getting thrown around everywhere back here. So they do certainly put their lives on the line when they're back here. And it's not an easy task to stand up and provide patient care while you're moving down the roadway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't imagine trying to stand while also trying to take a curve and making sure that a person literally stays alive. So that's incredible. Our EMS crews, our paramedics, our first responders, it's just another step of, they are literally taking the extra mile to make sure our citizens, our residents, are safe and are alive. So cool deal. So Kates, thank you so much again for your time today and just giving the people at home, showing the people at home what's going on inside this EMS truck when they see it going down the road, whether it's with the lights flashing or if they're just like, you know, driving to their next call. Is there anything at home that you'd like the folks to know as far as just EMS service? Maybe talk about some positions that might be open and that kind of thing.
We do currently have some positions open in both the 911 side, and we've talked about that earlier, as well as the EMS side. We would love to have people come out and apply. If a person is driven and likes the excitement and the enthusiasm, then this is certainly a place that they could look at, either from the 911 side or the EMS side. If they want to be in a more controlled environment, the 911 is a great fit for them. The thing I would like for the public to know, these people, whether it's on the EMS side or the 911 side, they're making split-second decisions. And those split-second decisions are for the betterment of the person's life or the situation that they're in. Oftentimes we can go back in Monday morning quarterback and say, well, we should have done this or should have done that. We had to make split-second decisions and do what's best at that time. So these people are dedicated. All of our first responders are dedicated, whether we've captured them in these videos or not. Our 911 people, our EMS people, which are EMTs, advanced EMTs, and paramedics. We have first responders that come from our fire departments, whether they're municipal departments or volunteer departments. These people are volunteering their time in the volunteer world. Our rescue squads are volunteer as well. These people make life safety decisions at the drop of a hat. They're dedicated to their communities. Everybody needs assistance, whether it's the volunteer agencies or whether it's the paid agencies. So if they're interested in going in this line of work, then certainly we encourage them to reach out to Rockingham County, look at the webpage, look at the job openings, contact your local fire department, your local rescue squad, see what it takes to become a member of those agencies and come out and support your community.
Absolutely. So if you have any questions at home, Rodney, if you don't mind giving that phone number that they could reach out, just so they have that right and we can put it on the bottom of the screen.
Certainly. 336-634-3017 is my office number.
Thank you so much, Kates, for this amazing day, this amazing tour of the Rockingham County EMS truck. Thank you for all of the tremendous amount of information that you've given me and hopefully you guys at home. If you have any questions regarding emergency services, being a part of our amazing emergency service crew and team, feel free to give me a call, 336-589-0967. I will be happy to help you and get you a part of our Rockingham County team.